Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is October 25th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Here you can see Alaska, BC, Washington, Oregon. Here goes today and tonight's system rolling through the area. Look at all cold air behind this storm. It's going to spread precipitation mainly on the mountain areas west. A little bit's going to make it east across Idaho Panhandle, some of the higher terrain of British Columbia as well, but not too much. And the main thunderstorm threat is going to lie along the Oregon, Washington coast, southwest BC, maybe the Puget Sound could get a thunderstorm, but I would not be surprised to see another report of a funnel or even a brief waterspout or tornado again today. It is tornado season here in the Pacific Northwest. And out here, this is what we turn our eyes to on Thursday. Atmospheric river moving across the Aleutians is going to point itself at the Pacific Northwest. Looks like southwest BC and western BC are going to be the main impact from that atmospheric river, but we'll take a look at it here in a moment. Looking at Seattle, below average again yesterday, 1/10 of an inch of rain, and we're going to remain that way as we go through today and add some additional precip on top of that. Thunderstorm potential there you can see just west of Seattle. They probably could have included Seattle and the Puget Sound as well. Maybe southwest BC wouldn't be included in that also. But you can see Portland, Oregon. But this is mainly a coastal threat as we go through the day today. So if you're out there, eyes on the sky, you can see Spokane, Washington, active pattern ahead, significant mountain snow above 4,000, valley rain, and breezy to windy conditions. Nothing too crazy, though. Maybe a gust up to 40 on one of these systems as they roll through here through the end of October. This is the HER 3KM composite reflectivity. Some pretty good showers moving along the coastline this morning. Some of them are showing a little bit of rotation even. So again, if you're on the coastline, Washington, Oregon right now, watch these dark storms as they come in. You might see some lightning, or you may even see a funnel cloud as we go through the day today. And check out as we go on into this afternoon. Look at this precip overspread the region here, really impact the Cascades pretty well. Nice precipitation signal again for today, and then some instability behind this may bring a thunderstorm tonight across Washington, Oregon coast as well. Now taking a look here, this is the lightning flash density. See it move onshore this morning, and then this afternoon and evening through the night hours could still have that thunderstorm potential as we go through today. Now, taking a look here, this is the northern hemispheres, BC, Washington, Oregon. Here's Hawaii. Here's Japan. Here's Russia over here. Now, as we put this into motion here, I want to show something here. So out here, look at this. Major typhoon looks like it's going to develop, skirt Japan here, and start to move up into the jet stream here. And that's going to start to play funny games with our jet stream downstream, probably bringing some ridging and allowing some pretty good troughing to develop somewhere near the west coast of North America with that as we go. So these are called Rossby waves. So back up a little bit here. You can see trough, ridge here, trough, ridge, all the way around the planet. It's known as a Rossby wave. Google that if you want a bunch of detailed information on it. But pretty interesting seeing this typhoon come across Japan there and start to enter the jet stream. That's what tends to bring a lot of our crazy weather here in the Pacific Northwest. Sometimes those typhoons can bring their energy across the Pacific Ocean really rapidly in a powerful jet stream and a windstorm. Sometimes they just disrupt the flow here, and they can cause crazy ridges that allow for cold air to move down into our area. But this is kind of a signal of La Nina, where you get a powerful jet stream off the coast of Asia here, and then by the time that jet stream gets here, it's more variable and tends to bring us more of a northwesterly flow, which brings us cooler weather here, and that's why La Ninas favor cooler weather here across Pacific Northwest. Now taking a look at the GFS, same thing here, 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. You can see today's system swing by. Then you see this Gulf of Alaska troughing. You see it's kind of a ridge here across Oregon, Idaho, Nevada here, but this very tight gradient across southwest BC and Washington, that's going to pump in some subtropical moisture as that atmospheric river impacts us here on the day Thursday on in through Friday morning. And then as we go into the future a little bit more, another polar lobe starts to drop down over the Pacific Northwest here. Look at this, another pretty much of a direct hit across Pacific Northwest through early November here. And then as we go a little further, this ridge kind of transients through here. It's transient ridge, and Gulf of Alaska troughing maybe on through the extent, but that's kind of far out there. But right now it looks like we have some cold air that might be arriving here, but this time of year it's really tough to get Arctic air into lowland areas of western Washington, southwest BC, and Oregon at this time. But we'll watch it and see what kind of impacts this will have on us. This is still a little ways out, so we'll just continue to watch it for now. Now looking here, 850 millibar temperatures. I wanted to show you what it's showing coming up here. Below average for now. Gulf of Alaska trough. You can see that warm air at 5,000 feet marking that atmospheric river here as we go through Thursday. Now we're going to speed ahead a bit here on in towards next week. You can see this cold air sagging down into BC. Look at that, east of the Rockies, kind of hang out over south central BC as well, and pretty much coming down the coast of North America. But again, it's hard to get Arctic air out over the lowlands at this time of year. The sun is still fairly strong relative to mid-December, for example, but we're going to get this cold air building up. It looks like the European and the GFS are showing it. We'll continue to monitor this situation as we get closer to the event. Now, taking a look here, this is the European 06E last night's run. Here goes the system moving through today. Good precipitation maker, especially for the Cascades. Maybe a thunderstorm around the area here. And here comes that atmospheric river. You see the big low pressure, lots of isobars here pointing this atmospheric river. You can see extended across the Pacific here at the Pacific Northwest. Look at this kind of bullseye in the Olympics. I don't like this, the look of this here. We build up a little bit of more snow as we go through the system today. And look at this thing just kind of sagging across the area, taking its sweet time to move out of here. So there could be a little bit of nuisance flooding going on. It's lucky it's still early in the season. We don't have a huge snowpack yet, but we do have an atmospheric river that is likely coming across the area, and it looks like southwest BC, maybe the Washington coast, the Olympics might be in the bullseye of that atmospheric river as we go. We'll watch this again very closely tomorrow. We'll try to pick up some more details on that. Let's take a look at the precipitable water here. This system today moves through. That slug of moisture is pretty progressive, but then you can see this one set up right on Vancouver Island in Washington, just kind of takes its sweet time, hangs out there for a bit before it tries to kick down south towards Oregon here. So anyway, we'll watch that for now. Now let's take a look at that atmospheric river as it comes in here. It's going to bring some winds. You can see it's fairly gusty today, not too bad, but nothing too crazy. Now watch this frontal system as this slides down on Thursday. It looks like late morning, actually in the morning time. The southeasterlies are blowing pretty good across the Puget Sound out of the south, and it turns southeasterly across the San Juans up through the Strait of Georgia here. Some pretty good winds by the time we move into Thursday late morning here and Thursday afternoon. You can see the frontal boundary back here moving across Vancouver Island. Look at some of these gusts up here. This is actually just sustained winds at 100 meters here. We'll look at the gusts here in a moment. Then you see that frontal system just kind of hang out and sag south over the Oregon coastline here by the time we get towards Friday night. So interesting system coming up here for Thursday and Friday across the area. Winds and heavy rain are possible for some areas, and even some flooding. Now this is looking at accumulated max 10-meter gusts. This is the NAM 3KM. Here we go through today. It looks a bit blustery, but sometimes the NAM can be high with these wind speeds. I don't know if I expect 40s out of this system, but probably some gusts, maybe around 30 miles per hour, can be had. And as we go through Thursday, watch the next system. You can plainly see it come down here. The southeasterlies really pick up Thursday morning, especially Whidbey Island north up through the Strait of Georgia here. Look at some of these readings, up over 50 miles per hour here near Whidbey Island, San Juans, maybe Bellingham, up towards Vancouver, BC, right along the coastlines mainly. Washington coast looks like it might get up towards 50 miles per hour too. The NAM might be a little bit high on some of these readings, but I'm just kind of showing you that wind speed potential as we go. Now, as this atmospheric river rolls in here, you can see Whistler is going to be below freezing until we get to that point. Thursday morning starts to rise above freezing there, and that's when that snowmelt is going to be occurring, and some of that heavy rain could be occurring as well. So hopefully we don't start getting into any flooding situations here, but we'll look at the excessive rainfall outlook here in a moment and see what it shows. Stevens Pass, you can see it's still fairly early in the season. We're not spending all our time below freezing at this point up at the pass level. We stay there for a little bit in the wake of the system through tomorrow morning, but then you can see the atmospheric river come through here. Freezing levels go way above towards 7,500 feet as we go through Thursday night into Friday. And Mount Hood down there, I mean, the freezing levels are going to be way up over 10,000 feet as some pretty warm air is rushing into the area by the time Thursday morning rolls around. Now here's Whidbey Island. Take a look here. You can see that Thursday morning, those winds here on the ensembles well up into the 40s here. You can see some of the gusts up around 50 as we go. Now look at Orcas Island up there, even breezier. A pretty good swath of 50s there. The mean is almost right around 50 miles per hour here. Now looking at Hoquiam out there, you can see as you go south, those winds are not going to be quite as strong. You can see maybe some gusts into the 30s probably for Hoquiam. Quileute, a little bit further up on the northwest Washington coastline there, probably some gusts into the 40s, not out of the question. But Bellingham, look at this, maybe a gust up towards 50 miles per hour again as we go through the day Thursday morning. Seattle, Tacoma, not expecting too breezy out of here, but the mean is in the mid 30s here. So we might get a blustery day here as we go through the day and afternoon on Thursday. Now, looking at total snow, let's roll through here. And by the time, let's go to Thursday morning. You can see all the new snow that's kind of built up here across from the portions of western BC and the Cascades. So that's going to be in peril of disappearing here when this atmospheric river comes through. So hopefully it's not too bad, but we'll check it out a little bit more tomorrow, and we'll see what the excessive rainfall outlook has to say about that. Now, looking at total precipitation, this is yesterday afternoons here on the European. As we go through Wednesday, here comes Thursday system. Look at all this rainfall just get added to southwest BC. And you can see the atmospheric river at this point sagging across into Washington down towards the Oregon Cascades. And it's almost like it's spiting California here. You can see the heavy precipitation cut off just before it reaches the border here. But look as we go through hour 180 here. Look at some of these precipitation totals through southwest BC, Olympics, the Vancouver Island area, North Cascades, and some healthy precip amounts all the way down through the Oregon Cascades as well by the end of the 10-day period. So the active weather is definitely going to continue through here on and through the extended 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, as you would expect. A nice bullseye here in the Pacific Northwest. 8 to 14, same thing here. Now, this is day 3 excessive rainfall outlook. They don't have anything out yet, but they do talk about this here. They mention the strong signal for 24 period rainfall accumulations of 1 to 2 plus inches, and then another active rainfall event. And then you have to watch out for the burn scar areas. Hopefully we don't get that atmospheric river hung up across some of the burn scar areas like the Bolt Creek fire here. So they may put that out. They even talk about the IVT values. So they are watching this atmospheric river too. I'm interested to see what they put out tomorrow. They're probably looking for a little more consistency in the runs and just how much precip is going to fall. There was some discrepancy between the GFS and the European here coming up. But check this out. The experimental products say risk of high winds. Again, here you can see western portions. This would include West BC as well. We'll continue to watch that. Right now, we don't see anything as far as a windstorm coming up, but that can change rapidly this time of year. Here's a risk of heavy snow across the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, and the risk of heavy precipitation. So like as per usual, in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, during the fall season can be a hot spot for weather here across the United States. This is risk of hazardous temperatures. You can see it mainly ignores a lot of the western portions. They understand that too, what I told you earlier about Arctic air getting into the lowlands this time of year. Very difficult to do. But as you get east of the Cascades, you can start to get pretty chilly even in early November here. So now take a look at this. This is Woodburn, Oregon yesterday. I'll just mute that. But you can see here, this what looks to be a brief weak tornado near Woodburn, Oregon. You can kind of see it there. You can see that left side here showing that structure in the updraft of the storm here. And you kind of see a clear area on the right side here. So looks like there was a brief tornado again there and down towards the Portland area. Now taking a look here, the Mrs. Kingsbury down here by Woodburn, Oregon as well. Let's put this into motion also. And as she pans to the right, look at that right there. Let's go ahead and pause it back up here. You can see to the right here, you can see the structure of this storm here. Similar look as what I think he might have been coming from the other direction, but you can see this rotation moving here as well. So likely another weak tornado there through Oregon yesterday. I would not be surprised if this happens again today, especially along the coastal regions, southwest Washington down through the Oregon coast. You can see that clearly spinning here and a nice structure there on this storm system, as you can see from Woodburn, Oregon. So it is tornado season here in the Pacific Northwest, folks. And yeah, so we'll watch this atmospheric river. We'll come up here and we'll get real detailed with it tomorrow here. I want to see what the European and the GFS show as far as this morning's runs on where this is going to line up, because you can clearly see it here. They should have a pretty good idea of what's coming now. But we've got that typhoon out there through the extended. It's going to mess with our jet stream, and it's probably going to lead to a changing forecast as we go through the extended as well. But I do expect it to remain active all the way in through early November. So yeah, leave some comments, like, subscribe. The subscribers are growing, exponentially here on the channel. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll talk to you then.